Again, we'll try again. Call the meeting of the Port Washington Park and Recreation Committee to order. The record should show that we have a quorum, that members Ross and Alderperson Miller are not here and excused. Let's see. Do we have the minutes of the previous meetings of the previous meeting? Minutes of the previous meeting. Not speaking well today. Don't know if anyone has any questions about them. I've not seen them. I haven't. Do we? Did you? Jim, you sent them in?
Yeah.
Oh.
We can do the next one.
Yeah, I guess since we don't have them in front of us, we'll just we'll hopefully do the minutes for this meeting and that meeting at our next meeting, since we don't have them in front of us. Move on to public comments and appearances. I will ask if anyone has any public comments. Dan, you seem to be the only person who might qualify. All right, moving on, chairperson's business, I have nothing. So we'll move on to members and liaisons business, and I guess we'll turn it over to you, John.
Okay, kind of go through an update, and then we do have one action item on this evening. Can we connect over to my screen? I am plugged in. Okay, so we'll start off with recreation update. We're well into fall now. We just wrapped up our flag football program. It's one of our most popular kids events. 90 participants. We run this at the old Rebels field in Saukville. They really don't charge for this. It's just we line the field for them, so it works out really good that the field is getting used. Gymnastics program is kicked off. We have 3 of those throughout the year. This is our winter session. Coming up, we have a basketball program starting up soon, and then as far as special events go, we have the Hunting for Pumpkins, which will be next week, Friday. We're closing up registration on that this week, but that's always a pretty popular event up at Area 6 at Upper Lake Park. This is a shot from our Touch a Truck event that we put on every year in the Pirates Hollow parking lot up above the pool there. We get all departments, street department, fire department, police department, parks department, we all get equipment out there, get the kids out, kind of meet and greet with the staff, and get a chance to climb up and around the trucks. So that's been, I think it's 3rd or 4th year. It's been going really well. Port Teen Theater, I think auditions are kicking in right now, and that's going to be The Addams Family. That show will be in February of 2026. That's in cooperation. We do that at the school district, and that's turning out to be very successful as well. The pool update. Pool is, yes, obviously officially empty, closed. We closed in August. There was some winterization we went through. We have 6 large sand filter tanks that on occasion you need to do enzyme treatments on them. So it's a bit of a process where you backwash and go to eliminate the bacteria within those sand filters. So we do that every few years. This was the first year that I've done that in my position, but they actually looked pretty good, and just gave us another Another thing too, that we've learned about the pool, I guess I can honestly say we've really covered every square inch of that pool, since we had the leaks the other year and, the issues that we've had with it being an older pool with heater issues, pipes, cracking. We're really pretty familiar now with everything on that pool. Staffing update, since we've kind of been restructuring, there's been a lot of movement and changes with how we've done things in the parks and recreation side of things, with my position covering recreation, and then adding another position, administrative position with Zy. Beth mainly covers the programming, and she was a key component to the pool operations this summer. We kind of looked at things as a whole, and the senior center had an opportunity to grow there. They've had some staffing changes there, and Beth has pretty strong knowledge on just updating things with technology, where the senior center had some room for advancement on that. They were still doing a lot of things, just keeping track on paper, where we're going to update and help transition to the software that the recreation department uses for programming and everything else, and it really allows smoother registrations, tracking, everything with programming. It just makes things, it helps with inventory, I guess, of what you have and what you've been doing, so you can track on what's working and what's not working. So throughout the winter time, she will be helping with the senior center, and then in the same time still helping with programs, special events, as needed, but they're a little bit more sporadic in the winter. And then when we get to the pool season, she'll still be back in that role. Project update, this is pretty exciting. We've had a lot of things coming to completion. Have some photos, bring up the Windrush basketball court, I can say is complete. In the lower corner there, we put in a new approach, asphalt. It doesn't look nearly as nice as it does from the ground, but the grass came in really nice for as late as we put it in. We're using a new product now that we can, it's called Mesotrione. It's a fertilizer that we can put down with the grass seed. Normally you can't put down a weed block and fertilizer with new grass seed, but this is something that works with that, and it really pushes out the new growth on grass. So that worked out great. Getting a lot of positive feedback from the residents. Very happy with it. And another key component to this was there was a big drainage issue on the sidewalk there, where you can see that patch kind of in the middle. Water would be flowing over there, creating a hazard in winter because it would freeze. So lots of new drainage put in there. So overall, a great improvement, and that was all done in-house in cooperation with the street department. Whitefish Playground. This is another one. I couldn't get a great shot of this because of we've got really nice big ash trees in there that we're treating, and they're doing really well. This is just from one view of it, but I think when we stopped up there, things were kind of in the middle of construction, but the playground area is complete there, so that turned out great. Really impressed with it. I am going to put in for award with the WPRA because from what I've seen in the past, for different levels of parks put in, this one we really did a nice job for the amount spent. This was all installed by park staff, and other than the curbing that goes around it, we put in a decorative curbing around the whole playground, which helps retain the wood chips. Just gives it a much cleaner look. This is just a view from the north, so it's all enclosed, all different age groups. This is a shot of Birchwood Hills. Unfortunately, the duckweed was really strong. But I was just up there today, actually, and it's opened up quite a bit, and there is a lot of ducks on the pond. So this new observation platform we put in, that was kind of a fun project. The middle school, the Thomas Jefferson Middle School staff put together the frame for us as a project, and then our staff took care of the rest of the installation and, you know, the platform itself. But they had a hand in it with their woods class making the frame. So it's always fun to get the schools involved with these things, and we've got more projects to come with them. And that's a floating pier, so.
John, it's kind of hard to tell, how wide is that?
I would say that's close to 10 feet wide,
Okay.
yeah.
John, does that come out in winter?
No, it doesn't need to, it's a floating pier.
Nice.
Yeah, luckily Dennis from the marina hangs on to a lot of things. So we were able to reuse.
Repurpose, good, I like it.
We joke about his stuff in the back of the shop, but it comes in handy.
Just long as he doesn't come and want it back now.
Yeah, I did ask him. Outfield restoration, this again is weird. You put the drone up there and take a shot and the brown really stands out, but it came in really nice, and this was kind of early on. As you can see up in the corner in between the tennis courts too, there were two old sheds there that were really in rough shape. Those got taken down, and we restored that area. Now, that's another project. We're going to work with the middle school staff to, the middle school students to build some extra storage off our existing storage building up there. Another really exciting one coming up is the War Memorial. I was just out there today. They actually finished laying all the new brick. So a story behind this one, Coldock Park has pretty rough soil, given the history of it between, you know, it was a coal pile, and then when the park was built, there was a lot of fill brought in, and it was very heavy clay. Water will pool out there for, you know, days and days after rain. Anyway, a lot of this water ended up having some drainage issues that would sit on the bricks, stain the bricks and everything. So a lot of the bricks were starting to look kind of rough, and things were starting to, there was some dips in there, and just needed some work. I forget when this was put in. You would probably know.
Yeah, it was probably 2012
Okay.
or maybe 2013, but
That
right
sounds,
around there.
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Because I think it was before I came with the city, so probably right before I got here. Thank you to Mike Keller especially, took the initiative to start some fundraising for this and was able to raise enough funds to hire, we hired Breckenridge Landscape. They came out, took all the bricks out, and then we also had the bricks that were stained too heavily from the calcium deposits in the water. We had replaced and re-engraved from the original brick company. The other issue that was happening is the water there was a lot of in-ground lights there, so the electrical became, there was just too many problems with it. We pretty much had to start over with the electrical. So we had John Thill and Jason Prom, that the city uses as electricians. They came in, we're gonna have all new lighting. So as it stands right now, and we also put in new drainage throughout. The city will restore some of the asphalt around there. I don't know if that's gonna happen, if we're gonna have time yet this year, but there is new drainage, new bricks are in, everything is laid. The electrical is coming in on Monday, so that will all be wrapped up. And then there is scheduled to be a grand opening on Saturday, November 8th with a flyover. So that's very exciting. So yeah, when, I guess when you have the opportunity, go see the new memorial.
Is there going to be
I
a
have a quick
rededication or anything? Do you know, Jan?
What?
Do you happen to know if there's going to be a rededication? or
Yeah, on
anything?
November 8th.
Yes.
Yeah,
All part
there's
of
a
the same thing.
whole,
That's all,
Yeah.
there's a whole program that will be
Mhm.
put out and advertised.
Who monitors the wear of the flags? Because I know that's been a problem in the past too, where they get pretty thready.
So, yeah, we do, and what happens is they go, it's not consistent on time. And it's really tricky, and when they start going, they go really fast. So, we try to keep up on it as much as we can. That's the Parks Department, so
Okay.
when people do tell me, I always encourage them, please tell me again, because I mean, in the future, because that's something that sometimes they last for months and months, and other times they just go quick. It all depends on the weather. It is really exposed out there.
John, is that true of other flags in the city as well? Because people have mentioned, occasionally somebody mentions the ones worn, even like here at City Hall. Does this park department monitor that, or
We
other-
don't
other people
monitor
do that?
all of them. We monitor Coldock Park, the ones at Possibility Playground. But like Rotary Park, the Marina monitors, City Hall staff monitors.
Good to know.
But yeah, I mean, if it's ever noticed, I often ask, because it's, we do our best to try to keep up with it. And if I ever notice it, I definitely say something, or, I mean, we change them. Forestry update, that's,
Hey, John, before you go further, quick question.
Yes.
With the project updates, one that we might want to put on there, or maybe you want to speak of. Today I was by the community garden, and it looks like they're putting up some kind of cool structure there.
yeah, that's not quite done, but that'll be wrapping up soon. That's a new pavilion at the community
Yeah.
garden that our staff is putting up for community garden members. This way Scott Gregorish has done an excellent job up there, just organizing and keeping things together, but they really don't have a place to meet. So
Yeah.
he asked if they had some funds put together. The funds were set aside before I was in my position, so I don't know for sure if those were raised by the community garden or where they were, but I was just told they were in place. So at any rate, we put in, I think it's a 16 by 14 foot pavilion, and we'll put a picnic table under there, and then they can hold meetings, because in the past, they would have them over at Upper Lake Park. So this just makes things a lot smoother for them.
Okay, thanks.
Moving into the forestry update, this is, we're just getting ready to take off with this. So the fall planting, we've got a lot of grant programs lining up with this year's planting, so it's a little bit tricky with me just organizing. So we're doing, to start off, the whole Whitefish Hill. I don't know if you recall, last year we took out a lot of the invasives. That was, after that was no longer a sledding hill. It was, just kind of let grow wild, and a lot of invasives took over. A lot of just, there's buckthorn, box elder, and other things. So we spent some time last winter clearing and prepping that site. So we received a grant that we worked in partnership with the Great Lakes Bird Observatory for native tree planting on the hill. So in collaboration with our department, I don't have the final number up, but I'm going to say we're going to have, 60, 70 trees throughout that hill, all native species. And then on top of that, that's also got a nice walking path from the park down to the bike path, and also the mountain bike trail. So it's a multi-use park, and then we will also be looking at planting in native plants throughout that hill and wildflowers. And so it's really, it takes some time to do these things. It takes years to really get them adapted in place, but there's more to come on that, and that'll tie in nice with the whole Valley Creek. So on top of that, from there, we'll move into our street tree planting and other tree planting that's going on in the parks. We have, as I mentioned, several grants going on. We've got the Department of Natural Resources Wisconsin Urban Forestry Grant. We received $25,000 this year to aid us in removal of invasives. Norway maple is considered an invasive species. We have several Norway maples in town that are in pretty strong decline, that actually costs our staff more time with the amount of calls that we get for broken branches. And well, frankly, they reach that level of risk where they need to come down, or we're just constantly band-aiding them. So this allows us to remove some of those. They'll also pay for new tree species. And then we received funding for pruning because we've had such large numbers of planting going on for the past 10 years. As I mentioned, we work with the Great Lakes Bird Observatory on other grant opportunities. Another one we're doing is a project on biochar, it's called. It's a natural byproduct from burning decayed wood, and we worked with them this year and made it. You make a burn pile, bring it down to not quite ash, but it's biochar, and then there's a process for storing it, and then over time you store it, and then after a certain amount of time you add it to the planting. So we're going to be doing a test. We've got 45 trees that are going out into the streets, and we'll have 23 trees treated with the biochar, and 22 of them will be the control. So kind of exciting to see how well it aids, because stress levels on these trees are extremely high in the parkways, given just that it's a parkway. Salt, compaction, everything else that goes into the stress of planting trees there. So that's what's going on with forestry. Moving into number 5, consideration and possible action on Adopt a Park Garden Program. You guys all have the brochures here. I'll pull up. We talked a little bit about this at the last meeting. I'd like to put this into place. So basically what we're asking for is a vote to move forward on the Adopted Park Program. So I will pull up the brochure here. You guys all have this here, and it just gives a layout of, and at the end of the packet too, there's a whole application process. So we're looking for residents. Ideally, it would be, your neighborhood park, if you lived in a neighborhood park. It's just, we have a lot of little things that it's constant pickup, whether it be trash or just weeding, just little things that would really help staff and help the parks in general look a little bit nicer, because when you have a small community like this with a small staff and you have 32 parks, it becomes quite challenging to keep up with everything, because it spikes in the needs of what you need in summer and certain different times. So keeping up with weeding, everything else, and reporting if there is problems, like we just mentioned the flags, it's little things like that, our staff, we get in routines of doing things. We try to keep our eyes open for everything, but at times, things, we do have checklists, but at times, things can get missed because you can't visit every park every day and keep up with it. So this is the brochure. I encourage, everybody, if they have anybody in mind that knows of possible candidates that might be interested in doing this, we strongly.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you, John. I'm glad to see you included like organizations in there, because, when I was much younger, I was a pretty active Boy Scout, and that would seem to be the type of thing that would be good for like a scout troop or a scout,
Yeah, and
Cub Scout pack or anything like that.
we've done things like out at the nursery. We've had, with the Girl Scout troops have helped us plant the little, nursery seedlings. Because they're pretty easy to do at that time, but it takes a lot of little hands to get it done.
Yeah, and would, just out of curiosity, I look at like the possible task, would the park staff be, if, for instance, like on removing, the removal of invasive species, would the park staff conduct some kind of training on how to identify the native species?
Definitely.
Make sure you know
yeah.
what you're pulling up?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I had anything in there about the training, but yeah, certainly, this is something that we would work with them. Oftentimes when people do reach out about like the gardens and stuff, they have some experience doing it, but if they don't, we're more than happy to help out with that.
So someone contacted me, they sent me a text, funny, because it was right after they found out that I was on the board. So, but I thought, and it was sent at the end of August, so I'm just going to read it. She said, "Dear Park and Rec Board member, I would have sent this officially, but I can't find board members on the website," which I thought was interesting comment. I have a suggestion. The parks need help, and we have a city full of people. Post a need for volunteers online and in the press. I thought in the press is kind of a good idea. No more than a 2-hour commitment, preferably 1 to 2 weeks in advance notice. Weeding, litter pickup, fishing line pickup, which I think that is a concern for people. Simple tasks, no skills needed. Just we need people to do these, maybe Key Club members, if that still exists. So I thought that was actually a good idea as well, and just it builds community spirit. And then she said, "I'm done now." So I thought, well, wow, that was kind of, the timing of that was really quite
Yeah, that's
nice.
perfect.
Yeah,
And it sounds like, this is exactly what we're looking for, is someone
Right.
that, maybe it will help build off. They'll help, find more channels to go out to.
I do think having it other places than the website.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people aren't going to go to Park and Rec. And honestly, when I've gone on Park and Rec website before, to me, it's a confusing website. I don't feel it's up to date at all. The fact that she couldn't find,
Yeah,
members-
that's
and
something
it's not a criticism, but it's not
No, I
an
know.
easy thing to navigate.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said something because I know we have looked at that because there's one portion of it that will take you right to the rec desk, and that's like the programming, and that's kind of its own thing. So I'll look into that a little bit more and see if we can make that a little bit more user-friendly.
It's just more up to date. I
Yeah,
feel like it's old news, unless maybe I just didn't click on it. But it shouldn't be difficult, I guess.
right. Yeah, that's the bottom line, is it shouldn't be. Because especially if we have some older residents and this is, I don't want to sound like I'm picking on older, but a lot of retired people are the ones that would have the time for these opportunities.
And even maybe posting at the library too, just other outlets.
Yeah, and we
besides
do
the
plan on
website.
putting these brochures up throughout
Okay.
town. That was kind of the goal there, but the press, I think, is a good idea. Our Facebook page, the city's Facebook page, and that usually gets picked up by The Voice. So yeah, I wouldn't put anything on directly on The Voice, but a lot of times when we put something on our website, someone from The Voice will pick that up, and that hits a lot of people. So, no, I'm glad. That's what I need to hear. I don't know, because I don't go on the website. And when I do go on the website, I kind of know where I'm going, so I don't always.
Yeah, that's one of the,
Yeah.
I've had, once I figured out different things, but I can see where it would be confusing. Because I've had difficulty finding things where I've said, and not necessarily Park and Rec, but just the city website in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes say, it shouldn't be this hard to find what I'm looking for,
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look further into that.
Say, John,
John, go ahead.
is there any chance that you could have these flyers at the actual parks?
That's what I was thinking too.
And little
Yeah, we
letters.
could put them on the signposts of
That's
the
what I was
parks.
thinking.
Yeah, that would be easy enough. I think I even have some of the little brochure holders from some other things I did.
Add a QR code that takes it right to the application on the website.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be good. Good idea. John, just one, because of just some other things that have happened, have you run this by Melissa and and if it needs to be reviewed by the city attorney or anything like that, has that taken place?
I think originally it was. I can look into it to make sure that we're.
I like the program, I think it's really important and it's necessary. I'm a little hesitant about acting on it right away unless we know that it's kind of been reviewed higher up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my personal feeling.
No, that's fair. And, we're going into the winter season, so I don't expect this to really come into play until things are pretty quiet in the parks through winter. So if you feel more comfortable, we can definitely do that and then bring it to, if you want to hold on it, we can table this until the next to vote on moving forward to the next meeting. And in the meantime, I can follow up with that and make sure that we're all in line. I know when it was originally brought up a few years ago when Mayor Malata was here, I believe it was all, everything was cleared at that point. But it's better to be safe than sorry. So that's,
Yeah, I think it would also give members of the committee a little more time to review it, and if there are any, suggestions and that type of
Yeah,
thing. It looks,
definitely.
it looks good to me, but I just would like to make sure we've got all the i's dotted and t's crossed and everything, so,
yeah, and I can talk with Melissa. I mean, with her being a lawyer, she'll
yeah.
be a valuable resource.
Who's
there.
Melissa?
The
city
The
administrator.
administrator.
The city administrator, okay. Does Park and Rec manage the marina area where there's problems with like fish hooks and,
Not the marina. The marina handles the marina, but we manage Cold Dock Park.
okay, then that's what I meant, Cold Dock. Yeah, because that can be problematic and I don't.
Yeah, and we do watch for that, especially
Okay.
this time of year with
Yeah.
the salmon running. And we had a we had a Boy Scout project. I don't know if you saw all those little
Tubes with the,
like tubes that for throwing away fishing line and fish hooks.
No, that's great.
Yeah, there's, I think, 16 of them out there along from Coldock Park all the way out to the breakwater. Unfortunately, people also use it as trash cans, but it has helped. But you know, it's not the residents of Port. It's when the fishing season or when the salmon run comes that we have the problems. Throughout the year, the fishermen really take ownership, and I mean, I've seen firsthand like people yelling at other people for not picking up their trash. They'll gut a fish and just leave the remains. So it's definitely gotten better. But yeah, I mean, that would be, another, if we have a group that keeps an eye on Coldock Park, I mean, that's a big park that it would be helpful.
I guess I would ask for maybe a formal motion to table this until our next meeting. If anyone would
I'll
care
move to
make that.
table.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I can second.
Okay, seconded by Member Dean. Any questions on the motions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, so we'll table this until our next meeting and get a little more review on it, and then we'll take it up then. Okay. Any other comments on the program in general that you'd like to share with John now? This probably be a good time for it.
I just have a question about going back to forestry. I've heard that they want to plant a tree in honor of someone up at Possibility Playground. Has anyone talked to you about that?
We have one that's being planted. There's two being planted up there this fall.
Okay, they'll be planted this fall.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to double check on that.
I don't know if we're talking about the same people or.
Someone who passed away, I think, who was really helpful in the development of the playground. It's just someone contacted me and wanted to know how we could get that going. So
I don't know if we're talking about the
I
same.
don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should they contact you, John? Is that what
Yeah, I
you
have
do?
them reach out directly
Okay.
to me. Yeah,
Okay.
because I kind of handle all of those.
But 2 trees are being planted up there this fall, if all goes well.
They will. There are 2 memorial trees being planted up there.
Okay,
I don't know if we're talking about the same.
but that
There's
will
2
happen
separate.
this fall yet, or has it happened?
It will happen.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, we do have, I mean, but those 2 trees already went through the channels and paid for the memorial tree and discussed it with me, so I don't.
okay. So maybe, okay, I'll just look into it
Yeah, I
with
guess
that
if
person.
there's any question, I would just have them contact me because,
Okay. I'm assuming it's one of those 2 trees.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, moving on, John. So we're done with what we've got here in the past?
Yeah, I just encourage you, if you want to look through the whole application, it is a little bit lengthy, but there's a lot of, I mean, I just want to make sure that everything's covered there. So look through, and if you see anything, I'm open to constructive criticism.
Okay, very good. All right, so we'll move on to discussion regarding Friends of the Park, Port Washington Park and Rec, Friends of Port Washington Park and Rec.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Wendy Brom of the Friends of Park and Rec had a prior engagement that she couldn't make it. We were hoping that she could make it here to help discuss how we can work together with the Friends group more. Because the Friends group, I'll try to, Wendy and I met last week, and they've kind of, they want to get more focused on the parks and their true mission. So these past couple of years, they've really been tied to the beer gardens, and trying to, and I give them so much credit because they've put so much effort into making that happen. Now they've got it structured well enough that the groups can run it themselves, that they don't need to put as much into it. They're also involved heavily with the Fish Day, the whole Fish Days event. And I don't know, I don't want to speak for them, I don't know where that's going, but I know that they do want to put some more focus on the Friends group of helping the parks and how we can work together. One of the areas that comes to mind, and we discussed this briefly on the parks tour, was Area 6 up by the beer garden, adding, the new serving facility, new bathroom building, tied into the natural playground, tied into possibly having some more art in the park, tied in with that natural playground. We had talked briefly about that Thomas Dambo structure. You guys recall that or familiar with that? Those large trolls that he makes. I think they're very expensive to make happen. We were just talking about that. Wendy has a lot of connections in the art community. So we talked maybe there's a possibility of finding a group that will do some sort of art structures tied into this natural playground and serving facility, gathering, and fundraising. I mean, this will add up, and then we're also going to look for volunteers because we really want to make this natural playground a community event. Putting it together, and so at any rate, that's just an idea. And to be honest, are there other long-term goals that the parks sees? Because anybody can bring ideas to the board, and I'm happy to hear them. I've got a much closer connection with what we do in the parks because that's what we do. I'm in it, I live it. So we have our long-term capital project plans that we work on, and we do put a lot into them. But I'm always open to suggestion because it's great to get feedback from outside sources too, that we can work together with people that want to make a positive impact on the parks. So that's kind of where the discussion was coming in, is how can these groups work to build off of each other and help the parks grow. So unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight, but we'll look at that discussion for next.
Maybe getting her to come in December, or
Yeah.
something, that'd be good, I would think, because it certainly seems like a discussion that would be good to have.
Yeah.
So can you just explain what Friends of Fort Parks is? I mean, I know some.
Jane, turn on your mic, just
sorry.
it's more for the people.
Just, I'm just curious more about how it got established. Can people join this front? I mean, I don't know enough about this program.
Yeah, and that's where I think we need to discuss more with Wendy. I know they're a fundraising group, and as I said, they've been pretty tied up with, their goal and their mission is to help support the parks through volunteers, through fundraising, help with, long-term needs and, goals to help us get through the roadblocks that we do with limited staff and funds. So how it was established, I wasn't in place. I don't know for sure how long they were in place. I know it had, went kind of quiet for a while, and then it built up some energy with Mike Gable, Justin Myers, and Wendy Brom here. And they started with, getting these beer gardens going, and that really tied up a lot of their time. So they are looking to expand and do more. So It would be better, I guess, I'd probably discuss directly with them, because it's something that I'm tied with, but I don't overstep where I'm involved, because it is an outside group, so.
Yeah, just from my own experience, I know I worked with when I was on the library board, the Friends of the Library, that's one of those organizations, very similar, but it really, the people who are kind of chairing it or leading it are so key. I mean, basically the Friends of the Library had almost died. There was almost nothing going on. And then 2 new people came in and all of a sudden, bang, they were everywhere and they're doing everything. So it's really kind
You
of
said it exactly. I mean, that's why I don't want to speak for them, because it's really, they're the core of it. And, for example, the War Memorial Project, since the Friends Group is a 501c3, the donations were able to go through them, so that helped make that project happen.
Yeah, that's probably one of their key functions is since they're the nonprofit that can kind of do
Yes.
that kind of thing.
So Mike Keller worked directly with the Friends Group to get the fundraising going. The Friends Group, hosts the transactions and houses the funds.
Okay. So we'll look forward to maybe meeting with them at our next meeting in December.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, John, you have anything else at this point?
I don't at this point, no.
Okay, I'm going to ask for public comments and appearances, again, just in case. And I'm going to just suggest that I think it would be, we have the chairman's business and the members' liaisons business. I always want to ask at the end of the meeting if any members here have something they'd like to bring up, for future discussion or anything like that. I would kind of like to make a habit of that, just because, and it seems like it would be a logical place to put it. So if anyone has anything, this is your moment. All right, seeing none, I guess our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 10th at 6 p.m. That is actually our regular meeting time, right? Is that the second Wednesday in December? So we will not, I think the last 2 we've had to move, and hopefully we'll be able to keep that one where it is. Okay, I guess we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.